Andrew, thanks very much for joining us. It's been a difficult few weeks. Can you talk us through the last few days and why the decision was made to relieve the management team of their duties?
Yeah, look, these times are never pleasant, and it has been difficult. I think we know that the football over the last few weeks has been difficult. I think we've all been hoping, the fan base, all of us, that we could turn this round, but it became evident to me and to others, I think, at the weekend that we just weren't seeing signs of it turning round. I went into these sort of two fixtures, St Mirren and Ross County, feeling that we at the very least, I thought we probably needed four points and hopefully 6. Having said that, if we'd lost 2-1 at the weekend, but we'd had a second half performance which was unlucky or really spirited, or we just didn't get the rub of the green, then it might have made me think slightly but differently. So. But we didn't. We had a very, very average second half performance, and unfortunately it left me in no doubt that we had to look at making a change.
It wasn't that long ago that they were given new deals. I suppose it's that old cliche, but things can change quickly in football, can't they?
Yeah, look, they can, and people are now just looking at that and saying, "Oh, that was just ridiculous. How foolish does that make us look?" It's probably helpful if I just clarify a little bit about those new deals. The deals that we had with the three, with Stephen and his 2 assistants, were 2-year deals with a 1-year option. And Stephen and I had some conversations over the summer around the fact that, it was particularly around the assistants as opposed to him, but that they would be going into the final year of their deals if we didn't exercise the option, and they would start looking for other jobs. And I get that. Any one of us, if we think our job's going to finish at a finite time, would do that. And he was keen that we didn't have that instability within the coaching team. So I looked at the options. We had a discussion as a board. We agreed just to exercise the option now, just to give them the stability that they'd been asked for. I think it's important though, because again, the inference from many people is that this is such a stupid decision and cost us a lot of money. And without going into absolute detail, I can say that the way we structure our contracts, compensation that's paid either way didn't change and doesn't change. So what we've ended up having to do here was no different whether or not we'd exercised that option then or not.
Looking forward, tell us a bit about the recruitment process for a new manager and what the timeline will be for a new appointment.
Yeah, so the timeline's a difficult one because I'd love to be able to bring a manager in tomorrow, so it's obviously as soon as possible. I'll be very upfront and say that as a club, or certainly as long as I'm here, I will never speak to anyone else about the manager's job until such time as there's no manager in place. You'll see many examples of other clubs that suddenly appear as if their process is a sort of 24-hour slick process, that suddenly a new manager appears, and that's not the way we work. Having said that, and I've said this previously, we do always have lists of people that we're looking at, which we update and we refresh on a sort of 2-3 monthly basis, and we've been doing that recently, as you'd expect us to. So where we are now is we've had our own lists. We're also working with an analytics company. I can't really say too much about who that company is. There's been a lot of press reporting recently, but for commercial confidential reasons, I can't go into too much detail. But we are working with an analytics company. Now, what does that mean? Does it mean that they'll just tell us who we should have as the manager? No, it doesn't mean that. What it means is they will be part of the process, and they will have some views, maybe on some individuals. We will also feed them any individuals we think might be right, and we will also, any applications we've had, and we've had a significant amount in the last 48 hours. In fact, we'd had a significant amount in the weeks previous to that, such as the nature of football. They'll all be fed into that analytics, and that'll give us an idea of a ranking of managers. But that ranking is just based on analytics. You then have to take that and you have to look at those individuals and are they within our ability to get them? Are they in current roles or not? There's various factors. Will they fit into our culture? What style of football do they play? You can go on. And the analytics won't give you all those answers. You have to do a lot of your own work. And that's the same when it comes to recruiting players through analytics as well. But the analytics, it will be a very important part of the process.
We now have Liam Fox in as interim manager. Can you tell us what your discussions have been with him regarding targets in the short to medium term?
Yeah, so I spoke to Liam on Sunday afternoon, and I'm first and foremost, I'm thankful to Liam and his guys for stepping in at this difficult time. I think he was the right person to bring forward, given the work he's done with the B team, but also, he has his European Pro licence. He has experience of having managed a team at Premiership level, so I think he's the right person for this interim period. I have spoken to him about not so much targets, but he understands that this is an interim period and that he'll give it his best shot. He knows that we need to start winning games, and I know him and these guys will do that. He is also aware that we are looking externally for the longer term, and he fully understands that and appreciates the reasons why we are doing that. So I have the utmost respect for Liam. I think he's a very good football coach, and I think he'll do well for us for so long as he's in this role.
You've mentioned analytics quite a lot, and obviously there's been a lot of press reports about external investment coming into the club and specifically in the sort of analytics area. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, this is quite a difficult one for me to say too much, because I'll always be as open and as transparent as I can be, but there are certain things that obviously come with commercial confidence, and until such time, and until such time as we have a deal with anyone, I can't actually talk about who it's with or what it would look like. That would be entirely wrong, and also I would be heavily criticised, and rightly so, were I to say anything that jeopardised any potential deal that we're looking at. Having said that, I think you also got to remember that in the context in particular of investment, the owner of the club and the 75% shareholder is the Foundation of Hearts. And they have to be taken on any journey around any investment. Not just taken on a journey, they have a key part in any decision making in relation to any deal that we subsequently do. And recently, the chairman of the foundation, Jerry, has been very clear on a number of things that are fundamental to the foundation and to any deal that they would approve. I think the one that I would like to just be very, very clear on, because it's not just a foundation point, it's a point for the club and the club strategy. And I've made comments in the past about my views on multi-club ownership. And not being hugely supportive of them. And I want to be clear that when I was talking about that, I was talking in the context of feeder clubs. And I do not want Scotland to become a feeder league. So I and the board's firm position, and FOH's firm position, is that we will not become a feeder club for any club elsewhere. We will not have a formal link with any other football club. This is done on the basis of, or anything that we do would be done on the basis of, there may be an individual involved, or there may not be, that has involvement with other football clubs, but there will be no links between those clubs. Another thing that we're very conscious of is that if you do have certain links with clubs, it could prejudice your ability to play European football, and we will never put that in jeopardy. That would be a ludicrous thing for us to do, and we will not do it.
Stephen Naismith said yesterday that the squad has potential and it's challenging to play for a club like Hearts with big demands. How would you respond to some of the outside criticism regarding the recruitment over the summer?
Listen, recruitment is a very subjective thing, and people have a lot of personal views, and every fan will have a view on certain players. There's a few strands to this, and I'll try and cover each of them, and a few things have been said about the recruitment over the summer. So firstly, there's been this noise made about, why did we let the sporting director leave? And I just want to clarify, we didn't let anyone leave. Joe came to me and asked if he could go because he wanted some time away from the game, which I totally understand and respected. Having said that, he had put in place with his team a lot of the work around the recruits that we either had already signed up, actually, if you look at the pre-contracts that we'd signed, or we subsequently signed. Also, you know, the whole recruitment is not just about the sporting director, it is about, there's a team that work in there, and ultimately, and as we've said this many times, the manager also always makes the final decision on which players they want to bring in. They make the decision on which positions they want to bring in, because that's another thing that's been levelled at, is that the board have somehow been remiss in that we've not signed a striker. I have never and will never, and the board will never tell a manager who they should sign, what position they should sign. If we did, we would be rightly vilified and criticised. So the very suggestion that we are, you know, have been culpable is, I find a little bit strange. No one is to blame. We put together a budget for the recruitment team and the manager. They understood that. There's been a lot of turnover in the summer, so there was plenty of, you know, money to work with, as has been seen by the number of players we brought in. I think the other thing I would say is we're very quick to judge new players, and I get that, and especially given the current circumstances, I get why we would judging the new players. But you know, a number of them have come from overseas, so let's give them a little bit of time before we rush to judgment. I wouldn't be writing off any of the signings. Others, certainly over the summer, every time we signed a player, and particularly the pre-contracts, but even subsequent to that, I don't recall seeing a lot of negative noise or feedback. I think everyone was actually very happy with the work that we'd done over the summer. But you know, hindsight's a wonderful thing. But I look around Scotland, and I've said this previously, and I don't know a club in Scotland that gets all of its signings right. Even, you know, Celtic and Rangers, I could list loads of players at both of those clubs over the last couple of years who have not worked, and that includes Celtic, who are highly successful. So we won't get them all right, but we need to get obviously more right than wrong. I think we have done pretty well over the last few years, but in the here and now, rightly so, people are criticising the players on the pitch. I spoke to the players yesterday, and they know that they have not performed and that they've let people down. So I'm expecting a reaction from them.
Staying along the lines of recruitment, we have a new sporting director coming in soon, and Graham Jones. Can you tell us about why he was chosen and what he'll bring to the role as well?
Yeah, of course. So I think, again, there's a lot of misapprehension on what does a sporting director do. And again, I've heard people, oh, well, he doesn't know anything about recruitment, and oh, this is just unbelievable, a joke, they don't know what they're doing. Graham, so when I knew Joe was going, I did have some names in my mind of people, and Graham wasn't actually on that list. Graham was put to me by someone else, and at first I thought, oh, I'm not sure Graham has the breadth that I'm looking for. But having had a lot of conversations with Graham since then, I became very aware that I was wrong, and that I think he'll be transformative for us. I'll be honest, up at Oriam. That's not to say that he's better or worse than Joe. They're different. And it is the same role, but it'll be done in a different way. And what do I mean by that? When we brought Joe in, he had a recruitment background, and we knew that, and we wanted his focus to be on recruitment, and his focus has been on recruitment, and that's not a criticism of him. As I said a minute ago, I think our recruitment has largely been very good. Having said that, when he left, we took a step back and we thought, okay, let's look at this a bit wider, and let's think, what do we really want our sporting director to be? And they're very much, we want them to be up at Oriam and to basically look after everything that goes on at Oriam. So they'll look after, although they'll have oversight of all the teams, but also, as well as the recruitment department, which is a department, and I'll come back to it in a second, we also have a performance department, and we have an academy, and these are huge departments in their own right and are very important to the future of the club. And what we need and what we have got in Graham is someone who brings huge experience from working with Steve Clarke, who I know is not happy to be losing Graham, but is pleased for Graham, but is not happy to be, because he's an integral part of how things work at Scotland. and he will become an integral part of our performance. And I mean that in the widest sense of how everything performs up at Oriam. So I'm really looking forward to him coming in. Having said that, although he's still with the SFA, the SFA have been very generous, and they know that in the intervening period between now and him coming in, it would be helpful if he was involved in some of the things we are doing, and I've reached an agreement with them that can happen. So I'm grateful to them for that, and I think it's very important that Graham is part of the process that we're currently undergoing. The other thing to note, and we knew this when we were recruiting for a new sporting director, is we knew that we were in the throes of looking at doing the recruitment in a slightly different way with the whole analytics piece, and therefore we factored that in very much to how we then recruited for the sporting director. And in any conversations we had with prospective sporting directors, we talked about analytics and made sure that they understood what they were coming into. And that will also be a key discussion that we have with any future manager, will also be around that use of analytics.
Just finally, what's your message to the fans going into a crucial next few weeks while we juggle a new manager appointment while continuing on both domestic and European fronts?
Main message is, I know it's been difficult, I know it's been hard, but we are one family, we are one Hearts family, and please can we, families go through ups and downs, difficult times, and we're going through a difficult time at the moment, but the only way we're going to come out of this difficult time is if we all come together. Incredibly, and I can't thank the fans enough, we sold out our away end at St Mirren, we are sold out again this weekend, or we will be sold out this weekend. That's phenomenal, given the run that we're going to. So I just ask, please get behind the team. Please give them your full backing. I said to them yesterday when I spoke to them that yes, they might have let people down, but I believed in them and believed that they are a good football team, and they showed that last year. But if we can get together as one, I think we can turn the corner, and I think we will hopefully look back on this period as just a blip.